Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man has swung into Disney Plus with its first 2 episodes, and we're going to talk all about it. So stick around. I think you might be surprised by some of my thoughts. Peter Parker's on his way to becoming a hero, but his path to get there is anything but ordinary. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stars Hudson Thames as Peter Parker, voice of Spider-Man, Carey Walgren as May Parker, Grace Song as Nico, Eugene Bird as Lonnie Lincoln, Zeno Robinson as Harry Osborn, Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn, Charlie Cox reprising his role as Matt Murdock / Daredevil in the series, and of course Robert Atkin Downes, who does the voice for Doctor Strange. What's up, my know-it-alls? Okay, so the very first 2 episodes have dropped. I'm really excited for them. Do me a favor before all that. Timecodes down below. If you want to skip ahead anywhere in the review, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, this is going to be a spoiler-heavy review. Just let that be the warning for you. The series takes place in 2016. It also has a lot of MCU leanings. There are a lot of things that feel like they're from the MCU. I know that Robin Atkin is definitely doing a version of a Benedict Cumberbatch type of Doctor Strange when you see him in the first episode. There's a cameo in this, and you get to meet a bunch of characters. There's some race bent characters. There's some gender bent characters, and overall, though, I feel like nothing that has happened is a disservice within the story. And in fact, if anything, may actually bring about some pretty interesting results. So that being said, the first episode is very much an origin story. You find out that Peter was accepted into a really advanced high school for smart people, for geniuses, where he meets Nico. And when he's there, it's just him. He's a normal guy. He doesn't have any powers running late. When he gets to the school finally, because Aunt May took him there, there's a giant portal in the sky as a creature which looks an awful lot like a symbiote shows up. And Doctor Strange is fighting it, and he's using all his Doctor Stranginess. And Peter comes to Nico's defense as the symbiote thing looks like it's going to hurt her or attack her. And so what does he do? He jumps in and throws a brick at her head, at the creature's head, and tries to save her. And he's very yay about good job, Peter. Way to go. Overall, the art style is just not for me right now. It is very reminiscent of the Steve Ditko 1960s stuff. The problem is it's very stiff-armed. So for instance, when characters move, you can the boxiness between their arm and upper part, it just looks very early 2000s CGI in a lot of ways. I know that they're going for cel-shaded, and they're going for an animation style that looks like the original artwork from the 1960s, and they're hitting that more or less. But there's other parts of it that are kind of annoying because you can still sort of see the edges where I guess we've just seen the style of animation done a little bit better in other places. This is definitely a choice, and it's one they're going to live with, obviously, but it doesn't necessarily hold up to Enter the Spider-Verse or the Spider-Verse movies in general. And I'm not really sure if it holds up even with something as different as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which itself kind of recaptured that lightning in a bottle that was the Spider-Verse movie in terms of having a unique animation style that tells a story from something that was obviously at one point a magazine or comic book. All that being said, the story's not bad. It once he gets bit, you find out that it's an extra dimensional spider that bit him. It isn't actually a radioactive spider, which I feel like is going to give us some trouble. At least sometimes when you take certain things, you take Peter Parker from being a science-driven, created by the mishap of science into now being a magic or otherworldly based hero. I don't have a problem with people wanting to uniquely find those things. I've always felt like what kept Marvel grounded was it's very, this is what we're science-y, and this is if DC was gods and superheroes of that caliber, then Marvel was science creating them and all these other things, Jekyll and Hyde with the Hulk and things like that. I don't mind what they're doing. It just felt very awkward. And then of course there's a part where he saves Harry Osborn, voiced by Zeno Robinson, and I didn't mind that either. I thought it was obnoxious that the guys from New York were all, like, trying to bully this person. It just felt odd. It's old baseball, and even the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, they took a different approach to the character of, say, Flash Thompson, and his bullying is different than physical bullying, it's more mental bullying, and that was a better choice. I feel like this went backward a little bit, and that's fine, especially for the time frame they're trying to put it in. So, do with that what you will. Then they have a very interesting at the very end of the episode, after Peter has some adventures and does some things, what ends up happening is, and he saves some people and does whatnot. You see the stuff he's doing. He gets home, and you have the moment like from the MCU with Tony Stark. Only now only this is Harry Osborn who has showed up. This is Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn's father, voiced by Coleman Domingo. And it's so that whole moment borrows very heavily from that MCU origin, and that's fine, and it works. They do mention briefly at the very beginning of the first episode that things have been rough since Uncle Ben died, and so we're still past that inciting moment. If this and I don't know if this is supposed to be Tom Holland's the iteration of Tom Holland's Spider-Man or not. I want to lean toward maybe not, but at the same time, I don't know. So we're just going to play it by ear. I think all in all, probably Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is going to live in its own little universe or pocket dimension, if you will. The next episode, episode 2, begins very much where that one left off. Peter has now been he's received a fellowship or an internship to Harry Osborn's Norman Osborn's company, where he goes to school, he's got friends there. There's a whole lot of school drama that happens, and it's all the usual stuff. They do the whole Peter trying to balance life and superheroing really well. That's something that so far every iteration of Spider-Man I feel has gotten right. Maybe the Amazing Spider-Mans with what's his face didn't exactly with Garfield didn't exactly land for me, because I feel like he was too pretty to be the geeky, sciencey guy that they made him. But at the end of the day, I feel like Tom Holland kind of really grabs that well, doing the nerdy, geeky kid thing, and then of course Tobey Maguire, the goat. When he now is going to because he's supposed to go to a football game. There's this whole thing. He's neglecting his friend Nico, which again, all of that is very normal. It's all standard Spider-Man stuff. It's perfectly fine and serviceable. You'll like it. Your mileage may vary. I've seen it before. I move on. When you get to the part where he leaves, there's obviously more story behind his football buddy who's dating the girl he likes. And so when you get to that part where he leaves and skips out of school, he skips away from the football game to go to the internship, we meet some interesting characters. We meet the character of Amadeus Cho. We meet a Wakandan young lady. We meet some another scientist named Jean. We meet some other people. And then, of course, we also meet Dr. Connors. Dr. Connors in this is a woman. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. She's a one-armed woman, just like Dr. Connors was a one-armed man. And they're working in they're trying to come up with a steady power source, sort of very much like the arc reactor that Stark Industries has created, which they do name drop, which told me that again, all that stuff's still in there. So this is very much like the MCU, but we now have an OsCorp, and so that'll be interesting to sort of see how that whole thing plays out. But all in all, I like the Peter trying to balance everything as usual. He goes to help some fire. He sees a fire nearby. He's on break from work, and he goes, and that's when he changes to Spider-Man the whole bit. He gets back from fighting Firebug or whatever the guy's name is. And when he gets back, he gets called to Norman Osborn's office. Everyone's like, who is that? Amadeus is like, R.I.P. your career prospects. He gets up there and he's like, I'm really sorry. I apologize. Please don't fire me, this and that. Norman turns the screen around on his computer monitor, and it's Peter in the stairwell putting his outfit on and going, what are you doing? And he was like, so you're Spider-Man. And it's like, dun, dun, dun. That's really rough. We'll find out. I have a feeling that I'm interested to see where they go with the storyline. I have a feeling that it's going to be very similar to some things we've read in the comics, which is where Norman wants to build sort of a super soldier, and he's going to ultimately put Peter as part of that whole situation. If we don't get a Lizard story, I will be surprised. I think we'll probably get something along those lines, especially introducing Dr. Connors, woman that she is. And there's some other characters who I feel like we may see some more with. And so, yeah, there you go. Now you know. And if knowing's half the battle, you're halfway being a know-it-all yourself. What is the Know-It-All Index for? Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, episodes 1 and 2. I'm going to give these both a really strong 8 out of 10. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but that's a personal preference. That is a subjective thing. That has nothing to do with how it's made, what story they're telling, and whether it's interesting or not. It kept my interest for 2 episodes. The art style isn't why I'm watching it. I honestly put it on and once I understood what's happening in the episode, I was doing other things at my workstation. So with it sort of on in the background, then I would stop and rewind things if I wanted to catch stuff and whatnot. But overall, the story still sounds exciting. It sounds amazing. I can't wait for some of the characters we know are going to be coming. So would love to hear your thoughts and are you excited for this show? Is this show sort of scratching an itch that you've needed for a little bit while we're waiting for other bigger projects to descend upon us in weeks? Let me know. All right, comment below and let me know. I'll talk to you again, guys, real soon. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.